Hello, let's make connections. What do we have today? What do we have today? We have quite a few long words, actually, today. Shakespeare, rattlesnake, saxophone, certificate, monologue, interesting. Pacifier. I'm drawn to pacifier for some reason because it's just a very unusual, it's a very specific word, I guess, is sort of what I mean. It doesn't have other meanings. Well, I guess it does in the sense that you could use it generically to refer to something that pacifies someone in any sense, but so I guess I was incorrect in what I said, but it really brings to mind the children's object. Let's see. Anyway, song title. I feel like we've had these a few times, referring to kind of metadata or information surrounding a record or something like that. Although it could be something like title and receipt indicating ownership. Actually, certificate might. Oh, indeed. Okay, maybe it is that. The title, the deed, the receipt, the certificate, these are things that might be proof of ownership. Receipt is the one that sort of more of a, it's more proof of sale than it is necessarily proof of ownership. But it might still be right because I don't think I see any other possibilities here. Should I try and find something else or should I just go for this? Let's take a moment and see if I can see something else, just in case. Monologue, sketch, these could be, elements of comedy performance or something. Maybe not comedy because the song, dance, maybe just general sort of forms of kind of entertainment. I don't know. I think that might be right. There's probably a smarter way to put it, but I'm gonna try these because I just am. There we go. Okay, yeah, they are documents of ownership. Okay, so do I want to try these then? Song, dance, sketch. What was the other one? Monologue. Okay, boy, I do not know what's going on with the rest of these, that's for sure. So, I mean, they're all long. Well, they're not all long. Donut isn't, but they're fairly long. It means it could be word modification if they all need to be long because they contain something or have a letter removed or something like that. But I think this is probably right. I mean, this feels like, bits of performance. Maybe that's kind of the way to put it. Let's try it. Bits in a variety show. Yeah, okay, that's kind of what lines along which I was thinking but wasn't able to formulate. Okay, so what are we doing now? Shakespeare, skateboard. I mean, they kind of have a similar, the gigs kind of scan similarly. I don't really think that means anything. They're assonant with one another. Saxophone kind of does as well. Shakespeare, skateboard, saxophone. I don't know. That doesn't mean anything though. What are these? What is going on here? Android is also just doesn't, and donut just don't. Well, I guess pacifier does. I mean, these are the ones that feel like the odd ones out, but I think I might only be thinking that because they're not as long, and so they're in a different font size, which isn't a good reason. Is it like oceans, the Pacific Ocean? But that's modified twice. You'd have to get rid of the E and add the IER, which feels extreme. Are there words within this? I mean, most of these have words within them. Actually, pacifier might weirdly be one of the only ones that doesn't. Because rollerblade has roll, roller, and blade. Saxophone has phone. I mean, it has sax, but that's just an abbreviation of saxophone. Rattlesnake has rattle, rattles, and snake. Shakespeare has shake or shakes, or hake, the fish. I doubt that's anything. Skateboard has skate and board, obviously. And the names Kate and Bo. Oh, and Boa. I'm probably much too exhaustive here. Donut has dawn and nut, I suppose, and on and do and new, I guess. and ut, which I guess is technically a word. And then android has and droid, although again, droid is just a contraction of android. And roid, I guess, for steroids, maybe. And id. Is this a completely useless exercise? I mean, now I've just sort of said, well, they all have words in them, except for pacifier, and that's not particularly helpful. Sorry, I'm just kind of blathering because I don't actually have any good ideas, as you can tell. I mean, if you removed one letter from this, it would be don't, but it wouldn't have an apostrophe anyway. That's not anything. Shakespeare. I guess, to shake something and rattle it, Shakespeare and rattlesnake, those are both, I mean, they're kind of similar words, and they're both at the beginning. To sax something is not a phrase. To skate it. To don it. I don't know. You don something, you shake it, you rattle it. They're not really the same. Roll, you could, shake, rattle, roll. That's a classic rock and roll song. Oh, maybe that's it. Shakespeare, rattlesnake, and rollerblade. That's only 3, though. Oh, and Shakespeare. It's impossible to say this way. Shakespeare, rattlesnake, android, rollerblade. It sounds demented. But no, I think that's shake, rattle, and roll. How completely ridiculous. If this is in fact a category, there will be people who take issue to it because I saw someone make actually what I think is a fairly reasonable argument that something can't be a category if you can take away arbitrarily one of them and then it's not a category anymore. That's not really a category. It's a specific sequence in the sense that if this is shake, rattle, and roll, it only works with exactly these 4. And you could say, well, that's not really a category of words or concepts. That's just a specific sequence in the way that a phrase or sentence is. But, they just do say 4 groups of 4. They don't say that it must be a category beyond this specific grouping of 4. So I think it's an interesting and well-made point, but it may not actually apply to the stated rules of connections. Anyway, I guess I'm going to try this because it's been a while and I don't have any other guesses. That was right. Starting with shake, rattle, and roll. Completely absurd. So what are these? Donut, skateboard, pacifier, saxophone. And actually, I think now that we've chosen the purple one, I think that means these are not going to be word or letter modification. I don't think we ever have more than one of those per puzzle. So these must have something semantically in common. What on earth would that be? Donut, skateboard, pacifier, saxophone. What? Every avenue I go down goes absolutely nowhere. It doesn't apply to more than 2 of any of these in my head, which means I haven't thought of the right one, obviously. Donut. Are they? No. I was going to say, are they sort of neologisms, but that's not really. I mean, I guess kind of, but not pacifier. Again, I was going to say, well, they're kind of, compound words in a way. Do, nut, skate, board, sax from, I think Adolf Sax maybe was the inventor of the saxophone. And then the phone bit. But again, pacifier is not that either. Boy, it's funny. Pacifier really stood out to me at the beginning of this puzzle for being unusual, and it actually still is now, even among this narrowed down category. I don't know what's going on here. I'm probably just going to have to give up because I don't have any good trains of thought at all about this. And again, I keep trying to think of ways you can reduce these words down, but I just don't think that's going to be the category if it's not purple. Is it significant that donut is spelled this way rather than D-O-U-G-H? NUT, probably not. This is pretty common in American English to spell it that way. I don't know. I really don't know. I'm just going to go for it. Sorry about this. It's been almost 10 minutes. I should just click. Props. Whoa. Let's go. Sorry, I need to look at that. Props for characters on The Simpsons. Wow. So okay. So this is, I guess, from the kind of classic opening titles of The Simpsons. So what? Homer with his donut. Oh, what's the name of the baby? Is it Maggie with her pacifier? Lisa playing saxophone in school, and then Bart kind of threading through the whole thing, I think, on his skateboard. Wow, these are some weird categories today. We had two very straightforward ones, then two very weird ones. Let's check the bot. Let's see, this felt tricky to me. Yeah, it does say extremely tricky. So more than half of people failed this one. Let's check the, let's see what happens. So the standard score, yeah, look at that, documents of ownership, which is what I think I both selected and saw it first, and that was an nearly 3/4 of people also found that one first. And then actually, interestingly, a much more even split between these others. I mean, for me, this one was also reasonably gettable, and then these other two were much more difficult, whereas that's not necessarily reflected here, which is interesting. Let's see. Yeah, what order did people find categories in? I mean, none of these is very, very high. I guess my solution was about as common as the next most common. Interesting. Wow, look at that. 30, sorry, whoops, where did I go? 30% of people got those two sort of gettable ones and then failed after that. All right, so let's look at what else people tried then. All right, Shakespeare, rattlesnake, rollerblade, skateboard. 1/3 of people tried that. Interesting. I wonder. Yeah, I mean, the bot wants this still to be shake, rattle, and roll. That's very funny. I could imagine choosing this and thinking, oh, maybe the song also has skate in it somewhere. I don't know. Compound words. Yeah, I mean, this is just how the puzzle looks when you're looking through it. Rattlesnake, rollerblade, skateboard. Exactly. It just looks like compound words. Rollerblade, skateboard, donut, pacifier. Oh, wheels or rings. That's pretty good. That's a good one. I mean, it obviously doesn't quite work because some of these things have wheels and some of them are wheel shaped. But it's still a good thought. Round shapes. Yeah, there we go again. Performing arts, Shakespeare, song, dance, monologue. That's kind of funny. I guess you could perform Shakespeare just in the same way you perform song, dance, or monologue. So in that sense, it sort of works. Well, anyway, that was I think, a very tricky connections. But that's it for me. Back tomorrow. Bye for now.